What's happening, MJ traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today's Saturday, April 29th. Hope you're having a great weekend. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing the Safe Banking Act being reintroduced in the House and the Senate. This news broke when I was in Mexico on vacation. I wanted to dedicate a video for this exact topic, getting a lot of questions about this one. Obviously, very excited to see this news, but as you know, and you're probably already thinking, we've already seen this time and time again, and we've just been let down. It's passed the House several times, and then it just stalls in the Senate, right? So again, I would like to be a little bit more optimistic, but just remaining cautiously optimistic because we've seen this before. But like I said, it is a sign of the times. Things are slowly changing and changing for the better. We know that Apple and Amazon are backing it. We know that Uber's starting to work with Leafly and do delivery and things like that in British Columbia here in Canada. So, you know, all of these Fortune 500 and big conglomerates and tech companies are starting to embrace the technology, and we're starting to see them lobby the government a lot more as well, which we know is likely going to be needed. But again, tons of articles, no shortage of different media companies covering this news. So we're going to go over a few articles and some key points that I found interesting and wanted to share with you all. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, click the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. So this MJ comes from MJ Biz Daily. The reintroduction of Safe Banking Act in Congress buoys MJ industry and the stock market. So bipartisan legislation to reform federal banking laws and allow MJ legal businesses easier access to financial services has been reintroduced in Congress, boosting MJ stocks on Thursday trading and giving the industry hope for more bullish times ahead. Although we know we've been stuck in a bear market, we had that slight deviation there in February 2021 where we had the run up when the Democrats took control of the Senate, but all just to be false promises, right? We haven't really seen anything since that. That was just on the hopes of MJ legalization, right? So you can't really say for more bullish times ahead. There's been a lot more bearish times than bullish, and I, for one, am sick of the bear market. I hate whenever things are going down. I hate when things are going sideways. We know that things can go up, down, or sideways in the stock market, so it's definitely time for things to start to trend back up, in my opinion. But again, just remaining patient, just dollar cost averaging, and like I said, just slowly adding to positions and realizing that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. It's only going to get legalized once. I know it sounds like, I'm a broken record, and so do these articles, but it is what it is, and we just need to prepare and be grateful that we are here to experience this in our lifetime, right? So Safe Banking Act is led by the Senate, in the Senate by Jeff Merkley, an Oregon Democrat, and Steve Daines, a Montana Republican. And then we have Reps Earl Blumenauer, and he's an Oregon Democrat, and Dave Joyce, an Ohio Republican, are the leading sponsors of the House version. So we are committed to making 2023 the year a bill is signed into law that ensures all legal MJ businesses have access to financial services they need, Merkley and Daines said in a statement. And more than likely, we're going to see safe banking, right? We're going to see uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ before full-blown legalization. That's what I expect, in my opinion. Again, I don't know. No one really knows for sure. But I think that they're going to allow safe banking and then uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. And then that's going to allow the big Wall Street banks to get in before full-blown legalization, right? They got to get positioned before they allow the floodgates to open, in my opinion. But it's long overdue. Tons of stocks seeing lots of upside, well over 10% after this news broke. Also, it is long overdue for MJ businesses to have protections as a regulated market, creating a safer place for all, said Cureleaf in a tweet. We also had some commentary from some other businesses as well, but we'll take a look at that in just a moment. The measure would not solve the tax problems, though, stemming from Section 280E. And I did a video on this, that New Jersey's looking to remove 280E at the state level, and that's just a tip of the iceberg of what's potentially to come. As we know that Cureleaf has paid over $340 million to the U.S. government under that 280E tax code. They said if they didn't have that tax code, they could very well already be paying a dividend, which is quite astonishing. So of the Internal Revenue Code, but it would be welcome for a win for but it would be a welcome win for cash-strapped MJ businesses eager for some measure of federal relief. Earlier efforts have cleared the House representatives 7 times, only to stall out in the Senate, which I mentioned earlier. So safe banking's unsuccessful history, despite the endorsement from Democrat Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, safe banking was never brought to the floor for an up-down vote in the previous Democrat-controlled Congress. A Republican leadership led by Minority Leader Mitch McConnell thwarted attempts to attach the bill to larger defense and budget bills. We know that Mitch McConnell has sort of been the evil person with regards to getting MJ passed. So this person's got to go, in my opinion. If you're in the U.S., I'm not in the U.S., I'm Canadian, but if you're in the U.S., not telling you what to do, but I would encourage everybody who is in favor of MJ legalization to vote this clown out because, it's time. The American people want it. He works for the American people, and an overwhelming supported majority of the U.S. wants this legalized, and it's medicine of the future. This guy's got to go. I'm not even sure how he's still in Congress, to be honest with you. Most people his age would probably have been long retired, but in my opinion, that guy's just got to go. According to the recent Senate Banking Committee report, the 2021 version of safe banking was referred to that committee last week, and no hearing date is yet set. Also, the standalone safe banking bill filed in the Senate. Now will leadership give us a vote, said TrueLeaf CEO Kim Rivers. We know that she's been very vocal and encouraging. Like I said, we got tons of states, tons of companies, tons of people, in the MJ space, not even just in the MJ space, but abroad, encouraging, the U.S. to finally embrace this and adopt it, right, and let this flourish in the United States. What needs to happen? So 60 votes are needed to advance legislation in the Senate under the antiquated Cloder rules. And the Democrats now hold a slim majority in the Senate, 51 seats to 49. 9 Republicans have co-sponsored past safe banking efforts, including Daines. This version has Republican co-sponsors as well. If all 9 eventually endorse this version of every Democrat also supports the bill, the measure could reach President Joe Biden's desk. While the president hasn't indicated support one way or the other, we know that previously, in some other videos that I did, Biden signed a MJ research reform bill into law last year and also triggered a review of the MJ Schedule 1 classification under federal law. So we know that, HHS is going to provide some sort of, verdict, and then they're going to pass that off to DOJ, and then we could potentially see MJ rescheduled. And a lot of assumptions and, speculation is pointing to the fact that it's going to be controlled similar to alcohol. Safe Banking Act reintroduced in the House and the Senate. This is from Normal, and I also did an interview with Morgan Fox, the political director at Normal. This is a nonprofit, and they lobby the U.S. government, and I've donated to this nonprofit before in the past, and like I said, I did a video with Morgan Fox, an interview, so if you haven't seen that, be sure to check it out, but he is mentioned in this article. But lawmakers in both chambers of Congress have reintroduced the Secure and Fair Enforcement Banking Act with bipartisan support. Creates a safe harbor for financial institutions to provide services to licensed state legal MJ businesses, and it makes it easier for people working in the MJ industry to obtain mortgage loans. Only about 11%, according to a recent survey, only about 11% of all U.S. banks and about 4% of all U.S. credit unions are actively providing banking services to MJ-related businesses, which is a staggering number. And also another survey data reported that over 70% of MJ businesses say that the lack of access to banking or investment capital is their top challenge. Right now, these businesses are operating predominantly in cash, which is increasingly making them targets for crime as well as impeding the efforts of law enforcement and regulators to effectively monitor financial transactions, right? And people are going, when I was in Colorado, I did a video on that as well, a documentary of me going around to different dispensaries. They're essentially, you can buy with with debit card, but they treat it as an ATM transaction. So you get charged a fee, and then, you can't use your credit card, right? You can't get, certain points and things like that on it. You can't just use your regular credit card, right? So those extra fees are hurting the consumer as well, right? But yeah, absolutely having that, cash on hand at all times is definitely increasing the ability for crime and theft, right? If MJ businesses are to have any hope of operating safely, transparently, and in a manner that is competitive with the existing underground market, Congress must pass safe banking now, said Normal political director Morgan Fox. So again, did a video with Morgan. You can go check that out if you want to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. MJ is legal for medical purposes in 38 states, and 22 states have legalized adult use. So again, the majority is here. It's spoken. Time for Mitch McConnell and the haters and the naysayers to get out of here and embrace this for what it is. Kentucky passed an MJ medical bill into law in March, and Delaware became the latest state to approve legal adult use earlier this month. Adult use legislation is progressing quickly in Minnesota as well. Also, Schumer applauds MJ banking bill, but says adding justice provisions is a moral responsibility. This is from MJ Moment. Just one day after the bipartisan House and Senate lawmakers refiled the Secure and Fair Enforcement Safe Banking Act, Schumer delivered a floor speech on Thursday affirming his intent to pass the bill while continuing to work with an expanded package that promotes equity in the industry and justice for people that were harmed by this war on drugs, which he has continuously stated in the past that he's very passionate about. The legislation, which has been slightly revised since the last session, would protect banks that work with state legal MJ businesses from being penalized by federal regulators. With the divided Congress that has Republicans in control of the House, the expectation is that lawmakers will need to focus on incremental MJ measures like the banking bill instead of a broader justice-centered legalization to get any amount of reform past this session. I agree. Just, less is more at this point, and we just need to get something passed, right, to spark that domino effect. The majority leader has been holding meetings with Democrat and Republican members in the early months of the new Congress to discuss MJ reform proposals that might have bipartisan buy-in this year. So we could see something as soon as this year, hopefully. There have been a number of MJ reform proposals filed in recent weeks, particularly in the lead up to the 420 holiday last week. For example, bipartisan lawmakers in both chambers have reintroduced legislation on Thursday to provide a safe haven to insurance companies that work with state legal MJ businesses. Also, Reps Dave Joyce and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have filed a bill to incentivize state and local MJ expungements with a federal grant program, incentive. Earlier this month, Joyce and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries filed a measure designed to prepare the federal government for MJ legalization, directing the Attorney General to form a commission to study and make recommendations about regulating MJ in a similar way to alcohol, as I mentioned before. On the House side, Republican Nancy Mace said that she recently made a deal with Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who agreed to hold a committee debate and vote on her yet-to-be reintroduced MJ legalization bill as one condition of her support for his legislation to raise the debt ceiling. Also, Twitter further easing U.S. MJ advertising rules adds new markets. So this is bullish in my opinion. It's further loosening its limit on the MJ industry advertising, letting vetted state legal businesses show packaged MJ products in their marketing campaigns while allowing ads in the new U.S. markets. Certified MJ advertisers may also continue responsibly linking their own and operated web pages and e-commerce experiences for CBD and THC and MJ-related products and services. Adult use MJ ads will also be permitted in Missouri's new adult use market. Also, MJ companies reported mixed results as they started experimenting with marketing on Twitter, right? So they're looking for ways to reach more of the masses, right? We have seen companies of all sizes try to advertise on Twitter, said Lisa Buffo, founder and CEO of the MJ Marketing Association. Some, not all, have been approved, and others have had early and mixed results, she continued. That should be a signal to the broader advertising world that the national approach to MJ marketing is possible when taken in small, iterative steps. So again, less is more here in this type of approach with regards to marketing and reform. Right? We know that incumbents, we know that the governments around the world are very slow moving. So again, less is more in my opinion, and we can just get the ball rolling. Other online advertising platforms such as Facebook and Instagram parent company Meta and Google parent company Alphabet generally don't allow MJ marketing, although Google makes exceptions for certain hemp and CBD ads. And I've been noticing as well that a lot of my MJ videos here on YouTube, which is owned by Google and Alphabet, I haven't been getting my videos flagged nearly as much. So if there was any kind of MJ related content in my video, that was something I would notice, is that it would be limited, it would not be promoted to advertisers and things like that, as it wasn't suitable. So that's something that I've been noticing a better trend in the right direction. Right, we're starting to see content creators and things like that being able to be incentivized to post content. Right. So Twitter also permits MJ advertisements targeting users in Canada and Thailand, subject to its policies. And also wanted to just bring up here that from an article from Seeking Alpha. So Tilray Brands says that MJ legalization could be sooner than expected in the U.S. The Reintroduction of Safe Banking Act could be the first meaningful step toward legalizing MJ. And again, less is more. Just don't worry about the broader. Just get this done, right? And then Tilray also has a relationship with distributors in the U.S. thanks to its alcohol operations. So very well set up once we do have legalization. And also acquiring Hexo solidifies Tilray's stature as the world's largest MJ company. I 100% agree. But again, the deal is yet to be completed. So just take that with a grain of salt. We'll want to see official completion of the deal before we get too ahead of ourselves. Hexo's recognizable brands could help Tilray secure a large share in the U.S. market once MJ is legalized. And I would have to agree. If you look at those Readies and whatnot, the Redecan Readies, the pre-roll tech that we've seen, they're just absolutely amazing. The quality, they have that new filter technology in them as well. When I was just in Mexico trying to find MJ, the only place you can find it is on the beach, and it's terrible. It's overpriced, and then it's difficult to smoke. It's hard to roll. It's very dry. And just imagine if you could go to a local shop, and Mexico is a very underrated market as well, right? We know Germany's set to come online very soon, so there's tons of growth to be had in this industry, and we're really not even through the first inning yet. And I wanted to bring up the SPY chart, the S&P 500. We closed right at the high of the week this week, and we are confirming the bull flag. And we were up quite a bit after hours as well. We were up to around 418 on SPY futures. So we're looking at this weekly bull flag confirming. So we had the low, the high, higher low, looking for a higher low above the 0.32 fib. Anything over that was a potential for a weekly bull flag, and then we needed to break 415.72 to confirm it. We got over 415.72. We hit 415.94 as the high of the day, and into the end of the day there. And then again, we went over that into after hours trading sessions. So we're now targeting, you take the measured move from the low to the high and you move it out to the 0.32 fib. It says we're targeting here on this weekly bull flag 439 on the S&P 500. So this is going to be headwinds for the MJ industry. And this could, if we see more, progress on this from a regulatory front, this coupled along with the broader market strength, we know that MJ has been lagging significantly. This could easily send prices going, 10, 20, maybe even 30% higher in the very short term. But I do think that, if this does gain traction and we start to see, more and more, if we get some preliminary numbers of how many votes this is going to take, right? If we're starting to see more and more favorability towards this getting passed, at least the safe banking portion, we don't need the broader reform. If we can get safe banking, I could easily see stocks rally 100 to 200% from here, but not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Hope you enjoyed this video today. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this is going to be the time where we finally get reform? Do you think safe banking is going to get passed? Do you think we need to get leaders like Mitch McConnell out of there that are naysayers, that are just anti-MJ? In my opinion, they got to go. Vote them out. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't get political in this channel, and I'm Canadian. So at the end of the day, I can't vote them out. But all I can do is, we all need to unite. We all need to drop the tribalism. We want all companies to do well. I own companies in the US. I own companies here in Canada, both producers, retailers. I own ETFs. I want all MJ companies to do well. And I brought up Tilray and Hexo because that was something that they mentioned with regards to this US legalization that I think is very relevant. And as we know, we're likely going to see safe banking pass before full-blown legalization because of the fact that Wall Street will have to get positioned. And they can't do so until they're listed on major US exchanges. But going to end it there. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Again, it's Rod with Pal Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. If you could smash the like on your way out today, if you think I earned it, I would appreciate that. Share the video with anybody that might find value. And we'll see you again on the next video. Take care.